Let's clap him. I'm not seeing Henry in the house, but I hope the senior team at Henry Senkasi, not Henry Semakula. I hope the team at PEAS is leaving to the discussion and panel discussion. My humble request is that this conference should be made an annual event so that we have spaces to expand the conversation for the ministry to take. So this should, yeah. Thank you so much, and that can be referred to as the Mistil resolution, that we need this same next year, 2023. But also to close this panel and say that there are lots of issues from this conference that we need to cascade even to other school leaders that are ignorant about what works. So we need to preach the gospel and reach out to them. It's good Henry is back. I will whisper to him. I've been competing with the time because we are time bad. I want to hand over to Mr. Henry Semakula. Let's give the panelists the last hand clap.
Thank you very much, our dear panelists. Thank you very much, our chair, and for managing the time superbly well. Originally, you had been allocated 75 minutes, which was 1 hour and 15 minutes, but for sure, you've concluded that part in only 40 minutes. Thank you very much. And I think that's one of the record times of panel discussions this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are soon concluding. I can see that we are getting there. I am told our chief guest who will be due for closing is available. And so we are planning to get there, but there's one activity pending, which is about the launch of the strategic plan by PEAS. But just before we get there, we want to thank the panelists. Commissioner Kule reminded us about the importance of inclusiveness, the way ministry sees it. That is very important. John, one key take home for me is that the girls can be pardoned and pardoned and pardoned as many times as we can, because we are all human. He even quoted for us spiritual verses from the Bible. And the point that every child matters, I think, is really important. Somebody in the morning mentioned that these girls could have made a mistake. And I remember it may not even have been their mistake. It could have been a deliberate crime by either a parent or caregiver or a neighbor or even a driver or anybody else. And Rosette, of course, we shall also never get tired of thanking you for the very much good work you do at the ministry, especially when you remind us of what the children have gone through. Homes have been very toxic. Some children have seen parents fighting and now they are back at school. They are not even sure whether the parents' fight ended. Are you aware? If you go to school and your parents fought the other day and you're in a boarding school, all the 90 days at school, you're imagining how either your mother is beating your father or the reverse. So that is very unfortunate. And for the call for psychosocial support, I will just stamp in as a counselor and professional myself. Patrick appealed to ministry to use professionals, and indeed we have them. All of us at the Department of Guidance and Counseling are either counseling psychologists or just expert counselors, and we are ready to take on that job. Ladies and gentlemen, so far so good. Since morning, we've listened to the voices of Maureen, we've listened to Dan K, there was a Dan O. By the way, you didn't know that there was a Dan A in the room, but there's a Dan Amanye from Gender Unit. So those are 3 Dans in the space. We've listened to our chief guest, the Honorable Minister. We've listened to Henry, the country director, giving us details of the organization called PEAS. We've listened into very interesting discussions from Martin and Maureen on inclusiveness. Amy, Mercy, and Dorothy gave us some experience right from the field. We've just listened to John, Rosette, and John, Rosette, and Mr. Kule, as well as Mr. Patrick Kavoy himself. And so we are winding up with the voice of the chief guest today, who by chance happens to be the Director of Basic and Secondary Education, whom we've listened to already. And we want to begin by thanking her for dedicating her time to be with us. Mr. Senkasi, that is another confirmation that PEAS and government of Uganda are really moving together. Otherwise, having these big people around the whole day is not so easy. And when she is done with her speech, I will request her to lead us into doing the launch of the partnership, the system strengthening strategy, and we shall sign a board over there. Herself and Mr. Senkasi will be the main people to append the signatures, but I'll invite another team of about 8 people to also append theirs in support. At this moment, may I call upon our dear Honorable Minister of State for Higher Education, represented here by Dr. Kedres, to come and close this wonderful engagement, as well as do the launch of that strategic plan.
Thank you very much, Henry. I realized that he's getting tired. He's called me the Director, Basic and Secondary. So I do appreciate that he's getting tired. If Henry moves away, I'll move my mask. It's a bit warm now, so that I say my final remarks without a lot of stress. I will use the same protocol as the minister used this morning. And so I won't go through the whole list, but I know that you know we appreciate you. Just remind ourselves, our theme, it's there, it's here. Leading schools to close the gaps. Leading schools to close the gaps. Even if you forget anything else, please don't forget that one. 2, I want to repeat what the last panel has said, that our children are our future and our future is our children. They didn't say it exactly in those words, but that's what I heard them saying. And because our children are our future, we need to give them an opportunity to be what God created them to be. By the time any child is born here on earth, he is a complete human being, awfully and wonderfully made. And that child can become a great person no matter how many grades he gets in whichever exam. So our duty as school, as Ministry of Education, is to make sure that when this child accesses what is called school, this child learns, this child progresses, and each child can have that happen. When we see the theme there, it brings a lot regarding the headship of schools, the leadership at school level. And I think apart from the misty resolution of having the conference every year, I think we also need to have a resolution of how some of these lessons we've seen can be shared with many more leaders of schools. I know that the chair for the last team, Mr. Kawoyo, has a big constituency around him, both at primary and secondary. Now that ICT has made it possible to meet even without paying for the water and the venue, can we see how to share these lessons much more than those of us who are able to fit in this room? I've seen secondary department, Hajbu, are you still here? And the whole team that came from the ministry. I know you have very strong system through ASHU. Can we organize and share some of these practices? My experience with some of our school leaders and some of our people generally in Uganda is that they feel so incapacitated and so hopeless. And you talk to someone and said, well, what can I do? But you are a leader. Leading to do what? Leading schools to close the gap. So as we conclude, I'll very briefly share what is in these final remarks, and then we shall sign off the launch and we'll be on our way back home. So once again, on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sports, and indeed the entire education team that has been here with us today, I would like to thank PEAS for convening us. Join me to appreciate them. Just to reiterate the fact that education is a joint responsibility. It's basically the role of government to educate all its citizens. However, our government decided to be honest, and they said the rate at which we remained very, very incapacitated during those difficult years, our economy was gone, the rate at which Ugandan women produce children, the rate at which things are moving, population growth versus economy, we cannot do it alone. And so they approved the privatization policy and brought on board other people to join us. But also, Uganda is one of those countries that opened its doors for as many stakeholders as possible to participate in delivery of education. And it's against that PEAS came on board and several other organizations came on board. So it's a joint responsibility. What Mr. Kawayo concluded with, the various stakeholders, the parents, the community. I mean, I used to walk 4 miles at schools from P1 and 4 miles back in the evening with my bare feet, carrying my packed lunch and a small little bag around my head with my 2 exercise books behind. But as long as you would step in what you called your village, you felt secure. You felt safe because you knew that now the people in that village knew who you are and they wished you the best. In the very, very first lockdown, when all of us were at home, except a few cars with papers, they interviewed some young girl on TV, I think S2, S3, and they said to her, "What are you thinking about now that we are all here?" Then she said, "I long to go back to school. I desire to go back to school. I wish they could open our schools." And I was sitting there in my sitting room and waiting and thinking, she's going to say, "I want to be a doctor. I love chemistry and therefore I want to go back to school." No. They asked her, "What exactly makes you want to really go back to school?" And she said, "I feel safe when I'm at school. As a mother, my heart was broken. I said to myself, if a child, a girl child, can no longer feel safe at home, if a girl child can no longer feel safe at home, where can she ever feel safe?" So I think we need to do much more than the usual groups we know. We need to get back these communities. I'm glad to see that PEAS has been working with community workers, and I think we need to do more than usual. Are we saying that it's the lockdown that has caused these pregnancies? No. I think to me the lockdown acted like, you know, when you have dirty water and put it in a bottle, transparent bottle, and put it down, the mud will settle at the bottom of the bottle. And if you look at it from where I stand now, you will see clean water. But when you shake it, what do you see? It's no longer water, it's mud. So I think what COVID did was to shake us out as society and show who we are. So we need to do more. And I'm glad Reverend Rukundo is here and other religious groups are here. We need to do more. Our society is sick. So I would like to really extend my gratitude to PEAS for the work they've done so far, for what they've shared with us, for opening their doors and letting us into the bedrooms. I think they have done, haven't they? Let us appreciate them. I've been working with PEAS now for the last almost 5 years or so. And we've been working at a project we call Inspect and Improve. Our mandate as DES is to ensure continuous improvement of the quality of education in Uganda. Continuous. So against that mandate, in 2006, We developed what we call the inspection framework, the inspector's handbook, and the stakeholders, what do we call it? Stakeholders book. And one of the things we included there in the inspector's handbook was that every inspection should translate into improvement of the school you have inspected. And that for that to happen, the inspection recommendations should be picked by the responsible people and implemented. And we also indicated for that to happen, each school after inspection should use the inspection recommendations as a basis for developing what we call a school improvement plan. Now, as Mr. Kule said, every inspection we give back an immediate feedback report, and in some cases we write a bigger report and send back. However, we have not, and I take responsibility for that as a director, we have not really been able to train these leaders of schools on how do they develop that school improvement plan. How do they actually follow it up to bring results? So when we got in touch with PEAS, I had visited a number of PEAS schools and seen that they had some good practices. We agreed we could pattern together and see how to take the work of inspectors beyond the written inspection report, but to use this report as a basis because you look at a few other things to make the improvement plan. To use it as a basis to develop the school improvement plan, to monitor how that improvement plan is actually implemented, and now to monitor the improvements therein. I would like to say that how many schools were taken? 10? 10 schools were picked in the first pilot, and then it increased to 50. And as I am talking now, we are thinking of moving to 200 schools. PEAS has come along with us. Yes, please do clap. They've come along with us to say, yes, if our PEAS schools next to your schools can improve, your schools, especially the USE schools, can improve. So while the government is working very hard to eliminate absenteeism through using e-systems to trace presence and to trace teacher on task, under an e-initiative known as TELA, Teacher Effectiveness and Learner Improvement. While that is on, it's not enough to just have me in school. It's not enough to see me in front of the learners. It has to go beyond that to see, has that translated into learning? And so our work with PEAS has helped us to see that it's actually possible. The evaluation that we conducted together with them showed evidence that there was improvement. The head teachers themselves are coming along. The learners are excited now to come to school because when they come, they learn. So we are very grateful to PEAS for working with us, and we are looking forward, Henry, to getting more schools on board and to getting our inspection team, not only at secondary, would want to roll it later to the primary schools so that inspectors at primary schools know what to do to have these schools improve after their inspection. And we have the whole sector improving for us to be able to achieve our objective and our mission as a ministry, quality education, training, and sports for all. You see, those of us who are sitting here in this room are possibly able to take our schools to take our children to schools we think are good schools, isn't it? I think. Looking at how beautifully you are dressed, I'm tempted to think that you have the capacity to take your child or grandchild. My grandchild is now 1 year and 4 months, to a school that you consider a good school, in quotes. After this, when I've signed, we can talk about that more. If the so-called good schools require my 6-year-old to wake up at 4 and then come back at 9, that's not a school. That's not a school. That's a pit next to hell. Yes. Children don't have enough sleep. Children don't drink breakfast. Maybe that's why God brought COVID. That these children can be at home, sleep enough, have breakfast, be able to play, be able to have lunch, talk with others. Maybe that's why God allowed us to have COVID. Anyway, a good school. So anyway, I think most of us are able to take our children there. And so finally we get these papers, and then these guys who are here take pictures and put us in the papers and show which school has got so many. But if the few of us, and the few of us, I'm talking about 20%, because the 80% can't take their children where they think is a good school. If only 20% are able to benefit from, in quotes again, the good schools, then we have a landmine waiting at our doorstep that will go off anytime. These children whom you pass by driving your child to school and back from school, and they are watching, they have nothing much to eat, they are not going to school, they are not learning. Very soon there will be adults at the same level with your children, and they would not be kind to them. So I want us to really go from here knowing that we are ambassadors of change and transformation for the whole system and the whole country, wherever we find ourselves. I was excited about these questions, and I hope that all of you have taken them. They were kind of same for each session, but asking us to reflect. And we go back home and reflect, and using what was presented to us, be able to find answers. Can we share this with the people we work with at school and see how we can find answers? So as I conclude, I once again want to thank our partners, PEAS, for organizing this conference to discuss critical education issues. Thank you. The government, and especially the Ministry of Education, cannot achieve its strategic objectives, the NDPs that we have, we are now on number 3, unless all Ugandans and Ugandan youth and children acquire the right competencies. Friends, we can never realize our national vision, transformation from peasantry to modern and prosperous Uganda. Transformation can only come through competent young people. And those competencies are gained at school. So I would like to say that we are happy with PEAS and what it's doing, and our commitment as a sector is to create a conducive and a good working environment so that together we can close the gaps. Me, I know that if Ugandans decide, we can close the gaps. And we can close them sooner than later. Ugandans, you are very bright people. You are very innovative. So if innovation changes from the crafty and the stealing into the genuine and work, we would be there. And I think we can get there. So I want to wish all of you a safe journey back, and to look forward to how the different groups here now will link up with Henry to organize. They could be shorter meetings. It could be meetings to look at each of these sections per meeting, but progressively, what you've shared with us can be shared with as many as possible across the country. And in that way, we see ourselves having a real right into closing the gaps, and as soon as possible. Because the more we take to close the gaps, the more dangerous our situation will be. So allow me now, with the authority entrusted to me, to declare this conference closed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grace Turiagenda, the Directorate of Education Standards. Extremely sorry for giving another title, and I often make that mistake incidentally because I get instructions from Director of Basic Education almost at an hourly basis, because the department where I belong falls directly under him. And there's also a unit called the School Health Unit, which I assist him to manage. So his title is always on my head, but extremely sorry for that. Otherwise, thank you very much. Dear Rapporteur, I think you've captured our 2 critical recommendations from here. Annual event, extending what we've picked here all over the place. And those who had gone out a bit, I had earlier indicated that our young people in that corner have actually been ensuring that as we discuss here, the whole world knows what we are doing here. And so they've been engaged on all types of media, including Twitter and Facebook and WhatsApp and whatever it is. And we are sure those routes will open. I think one of the big debates that school students must be enjoying in school these days, you remember those motions of P1, P2? Father is better than mother. Then P7 motion. Science has brought more trouble than good. Now I think one of the key motions they're debating is that home is better than school. And I don't know who will be winning, but that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now get to the very final bit of the launch. And I want to invite back Director Kedres and Country Director Henry Senkasi. Over this board is where we are going to make our official launch of the strategy. I think Mr. Senkasi earlier told us the details around this strategy, and MOU has been done already. So what is being done here is only representative. So Henry and Dr. Kedres are going to lead the team that is going to do the launch. And right after they have signed, I'm going to call another team to accompany them to also do the signing. We just wanted issues of social distance. So at this moment, may I request our dear guest of honor to unwrap? The unwrapping is already done. I don't see what is on the board, but it must be related to the launch of the system strengthening strategy. Yes, thank you very much. And at this very moment, we'll invite the director to hold that marker. And I can see that all media is pointing where she is, so that they capture that moment and throw it to the world. And yes, there she goes to sign the launch of the system strengthening strategy. And that only means that the entire government and particularly the Ministry of Education is committed to supporting this strategy. Now we shall have the country director also append his signature to confirm the partnership in managing this strategy. And we want to thank them so much. Now I request the other team members whom I'm going to read to only come when they are masked, and they can all come at once and do their signing. Joyce Businje, FCDO, kindly join that signing team. Rosette Nanyanzi, come over and also append your signature. Mr. John Tereraho, on behalf of our dear CSOs, come also and sign. The markers are over there. I've been told they have been sanitized, but in case we have to re-sanitize, I have one over here. Then the cow PG. By the way, dear Chief Guest, the cow PG has been with us since morning, and that represents the partnership we have with local government. Cow PG also joined. The head teacher, Nyamuhiche, Madam Gladys, also joined that team. Marcel from Mora PEAS also joined. The representative from ASHU, kindly join, Association of Secondary School Teachers. I didn't get the name, but I wanted to imagine it is. Okay, yes. And then Mr. Baguma Philbert from UNATU also kindly joined that team. Mr. Baguma could have taken leave, but I know his spirit was with us in signing that. Now, the very last of our stay here today, we are going to have administrative announcements, which are going to be given by Madame Dorothy Tsache. And I think this is how we get to know whether we are sleeping here or going away, and which way are we going. She's going to tell us. I want to encourage all of us to participate in filling the feedback form. A feedback form was given to you so that as we prepare for subsequent conferences, this being, having shortly declared that we are going to have it as an annual conference, we want to keep improving and improving. So kindly sign the feedback form. Dorothy, are we staying for dinner? Are we heading home? Are we going by taxi or by border? Thank you. My sanitizer again.
Thank you so much, Henry. Mine is just a brief on the administrative issues. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who has taken part in this conference. On behalf of PEAS I project, I don't have enough shoes to speak on behalf of the whole PEAS Uganda. The administrative issues which we have, as PEAS, we prepared a small facilitation to some of our participants, not all.
Is Henry Sankasi too?
We have the categories as below. We shall provide a once per diem and transport to 1 day's per diem and transport to the Ministry of Education and Sports officials. Under this, we shall have our Director of Basic and Secondary Education. We have the Government Secretary Schools Departments, TEDT, Gender Unit, DES, NCDC, Special Needs and Inclusive Education, and the moderator. Then we shall have, we have some representatives from the foundation bodies we invited. We shall also provide a small facilitation to those representatives. And then we have also the local government officials. These include the DOs, the DIS, we have the ASHU representatives, the cows, and some of the drivers who are coming from very far. Those who came from very far, we also have the school leaders from the I&I schools. Those are inspect and improve schools. We invited some school leaders. We shall provide a facilitation for those who are coming from far, like 2 nights per diem. And then we have our dear teacher on PEAS. We have our children who we shall also be providing a facilitation, and also some of our officials. So I'm going to request Eva, Emma, and Joseph. Please come over so that people can contact you for their facilitation. We appreciate all the CSOs. Given the policies, we might not provide the facilitation for you. Thank you so much, everyone. We wish you a safe journey back to your destinations, and we hope to meet you very soon, wherever we shall meet. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, PEAS, for this wonderful function. Thank you, Country Director, for leading that team so well, and for bringing some of us to Miss Till for the first time. We've been at other powerful hotels, but we have not been here, and I think this is a great achievement. Thank you very much, everybody who has done any bit you have done. And I'm told we have a wonderful photo moment to remember this occasion, where my official cameraman, I'm only thinking that the best venue for the photo is in front here. So may I request that we all ensure that our mask is covering the 2 critical areas, the nose and the mouth, and then we get here for the general photo that is going to appear on the PEAS Next magazine, I'm sure, as well as many other documents. Could we do that a little faster so that we can then get to the facilitation and move home? Dorothy, when you say those of us coming from very far going to get some per diem, Even those of us from Chireka got very excited because I know Chireka is very far away from here. But I know you know what your fun means. Can we kindly get here for the photo moment, my dear colleagues? The cameramen and ladies are ready. Yes, all of us can be captured. I can see the lens of this camera are too huge. They can match all of us. Just ensure our mask is on. We are still in the COVID times. You can also tell us on how we stand. The pose arrangement. Okay, let's first gather with our masks on, and then we see how to proceed. The cameramen are proposing that we can have one photo with the masks on, and another one, since we shall be silent, we briefly unmask. I don't know what the medical people have to guide on that. Are we agreeing to taking one with masks and then one without? But when we get to the one without, I only beg that we actually don't talk, because that would be the only unique moment COVID can get time to transport itself. I see many other people missing in this historical photograph, but it's also for accountability. When you get home and the husband is asking where you've been, if you can't agree to all the other explanations, you just show the photo. And I know that cameramen of long ago used to take a lot of time preparing people, but those of these days are very fast. Okay, cameramen, we are ready. I know that we can still say peace and smile in our masks. Okay, cameraman, when that one is done, you tell me to prepare for the second one. Yeah, when you smile in the mask, it can be seen at the forehead. Okay, that is a humble request. Let's not talk when we remove. So that moment, we just take the photo, put back the masks, and then we can talk. Okay, so, hey, are you through? Okay, we are done, and then kindly return the masks for safety. Thank you. All announcements have been made. The group photo is taken, and so what remains? Going home, I guess. Okay, guest of honor is actually saying that we clap for the moderator as well. Thank you very much. And the guest of honor provoked us into a discussion of how nursery children wake up so early. I think we need to put that for debate another time. Oh, Madam Guest of Honor, we beg for your indulgence. The PEAS staff really wanted to enjoy a photo with you. Madam Guest of Honor, PEAS staff would like to enjoy a photo moment with you. Now, I think PEAS staff, we also do the same. One with masks on, the second one without. Okay, are we set? I seem to be seeing one PEAS uniform. The other side, they are set. Camera. Okay, let's take the first one with masks. Okay, my dear cameraman. We are ready. Number 1, photo 1. Okay, now at once we are removing the masks and not talking. Okay, we can return our masks and continue networking. Safe journeys to all of us. I think we forgot to pray for the journey masses, but from me, journey masses to all of us. Let's meet again when we continue engaging after here. The people from far would like to know the person handling them. Can we see the hand up? People from Mitoma onwards, who is handling us? Oh, she's there. She's over there. I see the hand. Hey, who is handling us? The people from far? Okay. Oh. Dorothy at the back, you can get there. Okay, since they're not very many, let me just enjoy with him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tea at the same lounge where we had it in the morning. Make sure you enjoy it again for our accountability. No problem. Mpa naawe email yo. Kyojja okusooka okukola gwe kumpeereza ka mail. Kanzijulize. Bw'ogenda kumpeereza ka mail kanzijulize. Then naye.
n'ozinteeramu nze ne nkolera schedule appear once a month.
Yugi@yahoo.com.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Dorothy, thank you. That has been
It's
very
Dorothy. I thought it was Irene who had come. You resemble another person now working with
such is the name
now
which
working with which organization?
is very familiar.
Mukyalo oli gwofaanana akola ne Sehad, I think. You have a sister around any other CSO?
Foundation, they come from school for a foundation. Is that a foundation? It is.
That's why I'm looking for my.
Yes, I am. School for a foundation.
Which papers have you thrown? Oba na buno bubaddewo? Kino tekyali kyo. Oba kusigadde awo. Oba kusigadde. Oba mbuyoddewo. Bina bingi nyinza okuba mbuyodde. Naye sikalina edda nsigazza byange bino nga bwe buti bwamuno. Just a quick check, otherwise ebyange nali napakinze dda olinawo obutadde kati kozi nze ndagawa nze ndabani egyali eyo kale azye This was your sanitizer? One that
No, that wasn't mine. It's
Oh,
the same
it
bottle,
was
but
just
I've got
on the
mine.
same.
Mine had less.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay. I still have battery. Yes, I have this one. The 3 mics.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. Okay, I can leave them here. I was only trying to assure him that mics are available here. He's coming to pick them.
Okay, great.
And that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. My stuff. I think that's
Those three.